All right, good morning, everyone. I want to begin by thanking Alderman Mike Rodriguez. I'm here because it's the right thing to do for this community, but I'm also here because of Mike Rodriguez's fierce advocacy for his community. He always calls it as he sees it and as a problem solver, which I appreciate. So also let me thank you, Alderman Rodriguez. I also want to thank and acknowledge Department of Buildings Commissioner Judy Friedland and Department of Health Commissioner Allison Arwady. We are here today on Easter Sunday to address a very serious incident that took place yesterday here at the Hillco Redevelopment Partners' old Crawford Power Plant. Yesterday, the old smokestack at this former coal-powered power plant was imploded by controlled demolition. A contractor hired by Hillco Redevelopment Partners in a planned demolition. Anel, do you want to come up?
Muy buenos días a todos. Quiero comenzar por darle las gracias al alcalde Michael Rodríguez y también al Departamento de Buildings y su líder Judy Freeland. Pero también quiero agradecerle al alcalde Rodríguez porque es por él que estamos aquí. Siempre hace lo que es necesario para la comunidad y es alguien que es un campeón para la comunidad. Siempre busca resolver todos los problemas y le agradezco mucho su liderazgo. Estamos aquí con ustedes en este domingo de Pascua para hablar acerca de un incidente muy serio que se llevó a cabo ayer en este lugar, en el Hillco Redevelopment Partners sitio. Ayer una torre fue demolida por implosión controlada por parte de un contratador de Hillco Redevelopment Partners.
The demolition was permitted and scheduled and was supposed to be controlled in a way that kept the dust and debris contained to the site of the plant. The city was given repeated assurances that Hillco had a solid plan to contain the dust. Clearly, that didn't happen.
Esta demolición fue permitida y agendada de una manera controlada, de una manera que entendíamos en que el polvo y cualquier debris iba a ser contenido en la planta. La ciudad nos dieron un plan en donde se iba a contener todo el polvo. Claramente eso no sucedió.
Instead, following the implosion, a massive plume of dust drifted across this area, dropping dirt and particulate matter across homes, cars, businesses, trees, and every other inch of this community.
En lugar de eso, lo que se llevó a cabo después de la explosión fue que una grande nube de polvo y de material voló a través del área, dejando tanto polvo como cualquier otra materia encima de casas, negocios, carros, árboles y en cada esquina de esta comunidad.
I'm here to say to the city, this community, and to Hillco and controlled demolition that this is absolutely and utterly unacceptable. It's unsafe, it's unsanitary. I would not tolerate this in my neighborhood, and we're not going to tolerate it here either.
Estoy aquí para decirle a la ciudad y a esta comunidad, a Hillco y a Controlled Demolition, que esto no es aceptable, es inseguro, no es sanitario y yo no lo toleraría en mi comunidad y no lo tolero aquí.
That's true at any time, but it's especially true now when we're in the midst of a global pandemic that is literally robbing people of their ability to breathe.
Es cierto en cualquier tiempo, pero es especialmente cierto ahora, cuando estamos en medio de una pandemia que le está robando a la gente la oportunidad de respirar.
At a time when people are supposed to find safety and security in the sanctity of their homes, they're instead facing this additional unacceptable hardship.
En un tiempo en donde les pedimos a todos que encuentren seguridad en sus hogares, este es un problema que no es aceptable.
My team and Alderman Rodriguez showed me the videos of what happened.
Mi equipo y el Alderman Rodriguez nos enseñó el video de lo que pasó.
I want residents here to know that I absolutely understand your anger, and I'm extremely angry myself that this happened.
Quiero que los residentes de esta comunidad entiendan que yo entiendo su coraje, su enojo y que yo también estoy muy enojada por esto.
I know the significant health disparities that Little Village community faces, just as many other communities across Chicago face. So to see a dust cloud from a demolition roll across homes and businesses is simply outrageous.
Yo entiendo las condiciones particulares de salud que la comunidad de Little Village se encuentra, tanto aquí como en otras comunidades a través de Chicago. Así que al ver una nube después de esa demolición atravesar esta comunidad es simplemente inaceptable.
Looking over the site, you can see the dangerous impact this demolition has taken on the community. Gathered here on Easter Sunday, it's hard not to draw the connection with this day. How despite what happened, through the power of faith and community, we will see this taken care of and addressed so that it never happens again.
Viendo este sitio podemos ver el peligro de este impacto el impacto que tuvo esta demolición en esta comunidad. Aquí unidos en este domingo de Pascua es imposible no ver esa conexión, que a pesar de toda la fe y la comunidad, vamos a ver esta comunidad levantarse de nuevo.
But here and now, this is what we're going to do about it. First, yesterday, at my direction, Commissioner Friedland issued a stop work order to halt any further demolition activities at this site until I have a full report of what happened.
Pero ahora vamos a ver lo que se va a hacer de aquí en adelante. Primero, ayer, bajo mi dirección, la comisionaria Freeland paró todo trabajo en este sitio y no vamos a proseguir hasta que no tengamos un reporte completo de todo lo que ocurrió ayer.
No additional work will happen at this site until we have a full accounting and are assured there are sufficient safeguards in place to prevent any further harm to this community.
No habrá ningún trabajo en este sitio hasta que no sepamos exactamente lo que pasó y tengamos las aseguranzas suficientes, que hay todos los respaldos del seguro para que no haya más daño a la comunidad.
Second, the City of Chicago will provide masks to all residents in the immediate area, and we will start this distribution today.
Segundo, la ciudad de Chicago va a proveer máscaras a todos los residentes en el área inmediata de este sitio y vamos a empezar esa distribución hoy.
The Chicago Department of Public Health will also sample the dust that settled and will set up a regime to monitor the air quality at this site and in the adjacent neighborhood.
El Departamento de Salud Pública también va a hacer pruebas del polvo que cayó en el área de este sitio. También va a empezar a monitorear el aire y la calidad del aire junto al sitio en este sitio.
Third, I'm demanding that Hillco, starting today, conduct an immediate cleanup of the neighborhood. Street sweeping happened yesterday, but that's simply not good enough. I want cars and properties cleaned. I want the dust removed on any impacted properties to be restored.
Tercero, le estoy exigiendo a Hillco que empezando hoy conductan una limpieza de la comunidad. Ayer empezaron a barrer, pero eso no es suficiente. Yo quiero que todas las propiedades del área estén limpias y sean limpiadas por ellos.
Fourth, the Department of Buildings will halt any additional demolitions in the city planned for this week, pending further review. What happened yesterday simply cannot happen anywhere else.
Cuarto, el Departamento de Edificios va a parar cualquier demolición que haya sido planeada por esta semana hasta que hagamos un reviso completo de todos los procesos. Lo que pasó ayer simplemente no es aceptable en ninguna comunidad.
Fifth, I have directed the Department of Public Health to cite Hillco for emissions particulate matter. That means letting the dust escape the site. And we will explore all other appropriate regulatory sanctions against Hilco.
Quinto, le he dirigido al Departamento de Salud que haga una cuenta a Hilco por haber dejado que el polvo salga de la comunidad y así también revisar de qué otras maneras los podemos hacer contables.
Finally, I'm ordering a top-to-bottom review of city procedures on permitting and monitoring of demolitions. My office will coordinate this across the various city departments. I want to again assure the residents of Little Village and the residents of Chicago that what happened here is utterly unacceptable, and we are taking swift action to address it.
Finalmente, estoy ordenando a mis equipos que revisen de arriba abajo cómo son los procedimientos para monitorear las demoliciones. Voy a coordinar con mi oficina a través de todos los departamentos que esto no ocurra ninguna otra vez. Quiero asegurarles a los residentes de la comunidad de Little Village y a todos los residentes de Chicago que lo que ocurrió aquí es simplemente inaceptable y voy a asegurar que esta limpieza ocurra rápidamente.
And with that, I'd welcome Alderman Rodriguez to say a few words.
So first, I'd like to address the 22nd Ward Little Village residents. I'll hold this. So first, I'd like to address the 22nd Ward Little Village residents. Little Village is my home, and I too share the concerns and frustrations that the community has in how this situation was handled. The fear and anxiety that residents feel about COVID-19 have only been exacerbated with this situation. But I want to assure you that as your elected official, I will do all that is in my power to ensure that this situation is addressed on behalf of 22nd Ward Little Village residents. Secondly, I'd like to give some context on the interactions with Hilco regarding the demolition of this smokestack. Hilco was disingenuous with the way they said they will handle this implosion. They assured me that they would conduct the appropriate dust mitigation procedures that have been executed in the past according to them, and that no dust would leave the site. That didn't happen, and that is unacceptable. Hilco was also dishonest by saying that they would give adequate notice to residents via mail. I first heard about the possibility of this implosion on Thursday, April 2nd from Hilco. I immediately contacted the city to find out if Hilco had the legal right to move ahead with this implosion. I demanded they communicate to the public immediately. They agreed and committed to doing so. That didn't happen, and that is unacceptable. On Tuesday, April 7th, I learned officially from the city that Hilco had all the legal permits and was in their right to move ahead with this implosion. While standard practice in development projects, I took the word of Hilco that they would alert the community in a timely fashion, but they didn't. At this point, I wish I had communicated to the residents, and I didn't, and for that, I'm very sorry. However, Hilco needs to be held accountable for their lack of consideration for our community's well-being. I worked all day yesterday on the following. I asked the Chicago Department of Public Health to take residue sampling to make sure what's in the community does not contain asbestos or other harmful elements. They are currently working on this process and are reporting to me what that process looks like. I asked the mayor to issue an immediate stop work order, which she did late yesterday. Thank you, Mayor. We need a full investigation of why the implosion did not go as planned. I am calling for no work on this site until after the coronavirus pandemic stay, until after the stay-at-home orders are rescinded, or until the investigation is complete, whichever is longer. Also, demolitions of this nature should not occur without more local oversight via a special use process, and I will be introducing an ordinance to legislate that into law. This situation has caused a lot of harm and a lot of worry to our community. And I will reiterate my commitment to working with the city and local groups and organizations to address this. I represent you, and you rely on me, and I am committed to doing all I can. I have lived in this community all my life. Anything that impacts this community impacts me and impacts my family. Know that I am with you in this. I will take every single step in my power to keep us safe, and I will hold Hilco responsible. Thank you. Hay medias en español, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Ok. Previamente me gustaría dirigirme a los residentes de la Villita del Distrito 22. La Villita es mi hogar, y yo también comparto las preocupaciones y la frustración que tiene la comunidad sobre cómo se maneja esta situación. El miedo y la ansiedad que sienten los residentes sobre COVID-19 solo se han exacerbado con esta situación. Pero quiero asegurarle que, como su funcionario electo, haré todo lo que esté en mi alcance para que esta situación se aborde en nombre de los residentes de la Villita del Distrito 22. En segundo lugar, me gustaría dar un poco de extenso sobre las interacciones con Hilco con respecto a la demolición de la pila de humo. Primero, Hilco no fue sincero con la forma que me dijeron que manejaron esta explosión. Me aseguraron que llevarían a cabo los procedimientos apropiados de mitigación de polvo, procedimientos que han ejecutado en el pasado sin ellos, y que no saldría polvo del sitio. Eso no sucedió y eso es inaceptable. Hilco también fue deshonesto al decir que darían una notificación adecuada a los residentes por correo. La primera vez que escuché sobre la posibilidad de esta explosión fue el jueves 2 de abril de Hilco. Inmediatamente me puse en contacto con la ciudad para averiguar si Hilco tenía derecho legal de seguir adelante con la implosión. Exigí que se comunicaron al público de inmediato. Estuvieron de acuerdo y me comprometieron a hacerlo. Eso no sucedió y eso es inaceptable. El martes 7 de abril supe oficialmente de la ciudad que Hilco tenía todos los permisos legales y tenía derecho a seguir adelante con la implosión. Aunque es una práctica habitual en proyectos de desarrollo, le dije a Hilco que alertan a la comunidad de manera oportuna, pero no lo hicieron. En ese momento desearía haberme comunicado con los residentes y no lo hice. Y lo siento mucho. Sin embargo, Hilco debe de rendir cuentas por su falta de consideración por el bienestar de nuestra comunidad. Ayer trabajé todo el día en lo siguiente. Primero, le pedí a CDPH, Departamento de Salud Público, que tomará muestras de residuos de polvo para asegurarme de que lo que hay en la comunidad no contenga asbesto o otros elementos dañinos. Actualmente están trabajando en este proceso. Segundo, le pedí a la alcaldesa que emitiría una orden de paro de trabajo inmediato que hizo ayer tarde. Gracias, alcalde. Necesitamos una investigación completa de por qué la implosión no salió según lo planeado. Estoy llamando, tercero, para que no se trabaje en el sitio hasta después de que se recién a las órdenes de estar en el lugar por la pandemia de coronavirus o hasta que se complete la investigación, lo que toma más tiempo. Y cuarto, además, las demoliciones no deberían ocurrir sin una mayor supervisión local a través de un proceso de un uso especial, y yo introducí una ordenanza para legislar esa ley. Esta situación ha causado mucho daño y preocupación a nuestra comunidad, y reiteraré mi compromiso de trabajar con la ciudad y grupos y organizaciones locales para abordar esto. Los represento y estoy comprometido a hacer todo lo que puedo. He vivido en esta comunidad toda mi vida. Cualquier cosa que afecte a esta comunidad afecta a mí y a mi familia. Sepa que estoy a su lado en esto. Tomaré cada paso en mi poder para mantenerlos a salvo y hacer ILCO responsable. Gracias.
Happy to take questions at this time.
Let's asking the following. Environmental groups called on the city to have Hilco postpone the implosion during a health pandemic. Why did the city allow the company to proceed despite the community concerns?
Well, I think as Alderman Rodriguez said, Hilco had made repeated assurances to the relevant city departments that they could do the implosion of the smokestack and contain the dust to the site itself. Based upon those representations, they were allowed to proceed forward, but obviously something went horribly wrong yesterday, which is what is the core issue in the investigation.
Follow-up from the Chicago Tribune on that. Even with the assurance from the developer to contain the demolition, why was the permit granted initially, given the demolition was happening during the middle of a coronavirus pandemic? And how had the developer planned to contain the dust particles from the demolition?
So I'll start and then I'll ask Commissioner Friedland. But my understanding is that this permit was given some time ago as part of the overall process of turning this site into another use by the developer. The assurances, is my understanding, and again, I'll call upon Commissioner Friedland and Commissioner Arwady, is that they were supposed to have on site at the basically big, huge water cannons to spray down the smokestack before, during, and after. And the videos that I've seen don't suggest that there were any these high-powered, they're called dust bosses, but I haven't seen any high-powered water cannons that were on site that would have contained the dust. You see you hear the implosion, you see the smokestack collapse, the dust cloud goes up, but what you don't see is any of the water that was supposed to be spraying it. Now, they may claim that they were on site, but obviously whatever they had on site was woefully insufficient to contain the dust to the site, and then you saw the cloud blow through. Weather and wind conditions obviously should have been taken into consideration, but that'll all be part of the investigation that's now ongoing. Commissioner?
Hi, yeah, I would just add that obviously, Allison Arwady, Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health. So I would say that my understanding is that there were plans in place, and there was some of this water, for example, that was meant to be keeping the dust in. But clearly, as the mayor said, that was not sufficient. And my team is working aggressively with the rest of with the rest of the departments to understand why the procedures that were in place from Hilco were not sufficient. I do want folks to also know that we've obviously also gone back and looked at the various things that were in place leading up to what occurred yesterday. So, for example, I do want people to know that there were requirements for remediation of this site so that there would not be asbestos, for example, already in place. That was a process that had occurred. And CDPH was already on site yesterday collecting residue so that we can really understand as best as we're able to what happened here. We'll be gathering full information and then obviously working to hold the company accountable.
Do you want to talk about when they initially got the permit?
Good morning, Judy Friedland from the Department of Buildings. As you can see, this is a large site, so it's my understanding that there's approximately 2 permits, and I have to do a little bit more research, so please bear with me. But this second part of the permit came about sometime in March, and the implosion is a methodology of demolition, and we don't use it very often. I think the last time was in 2005, and so that's another process that we're going to be looking at to separate out implosions, maybe possibly for separate permits and so forth. But they did follow the procedures. They did respond to all our inquiries and provide us with the information. And like what was previously said, had it been according to what they told us, this would have been over and probably no one would have noticed it except for some people that like to watch implosions and film them. So it's very regrettable that they did not do what they were supposed to do and get this dust under control, and we're going to examine that from top to bottom.
Last question from me from CBS. Mayor, yesterday you mentioned the demolition but did not seem very concerned about it, and now you are having a press conference speaking to it. What changed between now and yesterday?
Well, I think when I was asked the question yesterday, I don't know if it had even taken place. And then obviously we saw what the result was from the demolition. So I felt like it was my responsibility. As I said before, this wouldn't be acceptable in my neighborhood. It's not acceptable here. So I wanted to come out and make sure that I spoke to the residents of Little Village, and they had the opportunity of understanding that in conjunction with Alderman Rodriguez, this problem is at top of my priorities to make sure that we get to the bottom of what happened and then take whatever necessary steps are to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Jesse?
Mayor, question from Block Club Chicago, asking what do we know right now about the toxins, and you mentioned asbestos, Commissioner. What do we know about the environmental implications of what was put out into the neighborhood? You mentioned you're looking to have a study commissioned on that, but what do we already know about what was in that site, what's in there right now, and what possibly was put out into the neighborhood? And if there is any report, would you release that immediately?
Well, it's a massive site, obviously, and they have been doing, my understanding is they've been doing work all along to mitigate any kind of asbestos or other toxins that were in the site as part of the decommissioning of the site. Now, with respect to yesterday, I think it's too soon for us to know. As Commissioner already said, we started collecting dust samples. We're doing the air testing, but this is in early stages at this point.
Had anything been collected before the implosion, in the lead up, in the permitting, in the getting approval? You talk about they met all the requirements. Is anything along the way a requirement from the city that your team goes in there and tests what's in there in the off chance that what happened? Do you have any, environmental study that was put together?
We're looking into that now, and as soon as we have more information, we'll let you know.
Two other questions for you. One is, this is obviously in the middle of this pandemic. You've brought it up. We're talking about a community that was concerned that they're already at a higher risk of having respiratory issues because of construction like this. Is there anything, Dr. Orwady, that you can speak to about added concern from your department now for how the number of cases, the severity of cases of COVID-19 might be impacted here? And is there any plan already in motion to do more testing, have more staff here, a special hotline for this neighborhood? Is there anything being thought of to try to address a potential added severity because of breathing in this dust?
Yeah, so I would say to that, my biggest concern, to be honest, is related to just the added anxiety that comes at a time that is already such a major time of anxiety for the city and for parts, anybody who's in this vulnerable population. We've been talking a lot how people who have underlying lung conditions in particular can be at higher risk for the severe complications. So I would say certainly, we're not interested in anything that has the potential to significantly increase, especially what's called the particulate matter, which is the dust that's in the air. I think an event like yesterday, certainly the controls that were meant to be in place one of the main things that the Chicago Department of Public Health does in conjunction with the Illinois EPA is about keeping dust on site. That's really one of the main roles of the regulations that are in place, and that's really one of the focuses. And so where we see a company not able, with it, whatever engineering controls were in place to keep that, that's why it is a concern. I think most people likely were sheltering in place. Were at home yesterday, which I think is good. I think people who were out, the inhaling of dust at that time, that's a problem. That's one of the reasons that we're concerned. I would not have major concern at this point based on what we know now, but obviously investigations are ongoing, that we would expect a significant long-term issue related to pollution. And in a lot of ways, actually, there's been some interesting data that's sort of showed across the country that at a time where we're driving a lot less, there's less activity, that overall pollution levels actually are down because of the pandemic. So we're going to have to see a little bit how this plays out. But I would encourage really the residents of Little Village, as anywhere in Chicago, to be paying attention, especially if they have underlying conditions, and to be in touch with their doctors if they're feeling well. unwell.
You mentioned what we know now. What do you know now about the environmental implications? You mentioned some sampling taken already. Do you have any data back you can share about what was in that dust?
So we don't yet. I can tell you that the asbestos in particular would be a significant concern, and so that's one of the areas where there's a lot of oversight leading in, all through this project. It's something that's heavily regulated, and the health department has been working with this company throughout to ensure that that would not be an issue. We've done some sampling, as you've heard. We'll be seeing what else we're able to learn, and we're in conversations with the Illinois EPA as well. That really does more at the long
question.
term.
Just want to finish with that. What does that mean that you've been checking on asbestos? Does that mean they've met the requirements
Yes.
for? So there's no significant.
They had met the requirements related to asbestos for this to move ahead.
And,
Thank you.
This last question for the mayor. Can you just speak to city's involvement yesterday? Now, you obviously were talking to us over at CPD headquarters. Who from the city, if anyone, was on site involved with supervising the demolition? I know the fire department was out here with some.
We weren't supervising the demolition. The demolition was conducted by Hilco and its subcontractor. But on site, my understanding, and again, this is very preliminary, is we had folks from the building department and from the fire department as well as public health that were out here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.